The windshield wipers couldn't keep up with the blizzard. I was doing 90 on a mountain road glazed with black ice, and my hands never shook once. On the seat beside me lay a single violin case, empty, the velvet lining still warm, from the instrument that had just been ripped out of my life. My phone lit up every 4 seconds, 23 missed calls, all from the same woman who taught me that love was conditional. I finally pressed answer. Silence. Then her voice, sharp as a gavel. "Where are you, Gabriel?" I smiled into the dark. "Tell Dad the prodigal son just became the defendant." I ended the call, rolled the window down, and let the freezing air slap me awake. "My name is Gabriel Langford, and this is the night I stopped playing their game. 48 hours earlier, I had pulled up the private drive to the Langford Lodge, an all-glass monstrosity perched above Aspen like a crown no one deserved. My parents called it the chalet. Everyone else called it the courtroom with better lighting. I stepped out of the car, carrying the only thing that still felt like mine, a 1789 Guadagnini violin my grandfather smuggled out of Vienna before the war. I had spent 6 months restoring it, hand-carving a new bridge, regraduating the top plate until it sang like an angel with a broken heart. I brought it home for one reason. Tonight, Christmas Eve, I was going to play the piece I wrote for them, a requiem disguised as a gift. They didn't even look up when I walked in. Dad was on the phone with a senator. Mom was correcting the seating chart with a red pen like she was editing a verdict. My older brother Harrison, partner at Langford and Creed, was already 3 scotches in, bragging about the hostile takeover he closed that morning. My sister Victoria, cardiac surgeon, was live streaming her humble holiday to 300,000 followers. And then there was me, the concert violinist who turned down Juilliard's doctoral program to busk in the subway and teach kids in the Bronx for free. In their language, the family disgrace. Dinner was served on plates that cost more than most people's rent. Harrison raised his glass. "So, Gabriel, still giving lessons to delinquents for subway tokens, or have you finally accepted Dad's offer for law school?" Victoria laughed into her phone. "Chat says he looks like a sad street musician. Accurate." Mom sighed the sigh of a woman who had suffered too much. "Gabriel is sensitive. Not everyone is built for the real world." I smiled, chewed my wagyu, and tasted nothing. Later, when the house finally went quiet, I carried the Guadagnini downstairs to warm it by the fire before tomorrow's performance. I was crossing the hallway when I heard voices behind Dad's study door. The door was ajar, just enough. Harrison's voice, low and lethal. "We can't keep funding this fantasy. He's 31, Dad, 31. He's got what, 15,000 Instagram followers? That's not a career. That's a cry for help." Victoria chimed in. "I pulled his tax returns. He made 42,000 last year. 42. I clear that before breakfast." Dad's voice cut through like ice cracking. "I've already spoken to the dean at Columbia. There's a spot in next year's class. We tell him tonight, after dessert. We frame it as an ultimatum wrapped in love. He either enrolls or the trust fund freezes. The apartment gets sold. The violin gets locked in a vault until he grows up. Mom, softer but colder. And the bedroom here? We're converting it to a home office for Harrison's new associates. Gabriel can stay in the guest cottage if he behaves." Silence. Then Harrison again. "What about the violin? That thing is worth $2 million. We can't let him pawn it for some charity concert." Dad. "It goes into the family safe, collateral, motivation." I stood there in the dark hallway, the Guadagnini pressed against my chest like a child I was suddenly terrified to lose. They weren't just ashamed of me. They had a plan. A surgical strike scheduled for Christmas morning. Something inside me went very, very still, the way a string goes still right before it snaps. I walked back upstairs on feet that didn't make a sound. I opened the case. I took the violin out. I played one note, soft, perfect, devastating, then closed the lid forever. Then I did the only thing left to do. I packed a single backpack. Laptop, passport, one change of clothes. Everything else, the childhood trophies, the photos, the cashmere sweaters Mom bought to make me look respectable, I left behind. I carried the empty case downstairs. The dining table was already set for tomorrow's family meeting. Yellow legal pads. Printed spreadsheets titled Gabriel Langford Intervention. A manila folder labeled Trust Freeze Documents. I placed the empty violin me on the center of the table like a corpse at a wake. I took the fountain pen Dad used to sign death sentences in court and wrote 4 words on Langford letterhead. The symphony is over. I left the note on the velvet. I put on my coat. I walked out into the snow and never looked back. 3 months of silence. Not one text returned. Not one email opened. I blocked every number, every account, every way they had ever reached me. At first, the quiet was terrifying. Then it became oxygen. I slept on a futon in a rehearsal studio in Red Hook, Brooklyn, rent paid and teaching hours. I taught 12-year-olds how to hold a bow until their fingers bled. I played subway platforms at 2 a.m. for drunk tourists and exhausted nurses. Every dollar went back into the only thing that ever loved me unconditionally, music. I stopped writing pretty sonatas for rich patrons. I started composing something raw, something dangerous, a 40-minute piece called EXILE. No melody they could hum, just truth, wrapped in minor seconds and screaming overtones. I sent the demo to one person, Anya Volkov, former principal violin of the Berlin Philharmonic, retired legend, the most feared ear in classical music. 2 weeks later, an email arrived. Subject line, recording next month. Bring the score. Do not be late. I showed up to the studio in Berlin with nothing but the clothes on my back and a USB drive. Anya listened once. She closed her eyes. When the final note died, she said, in her smoke and vodka voice, "This is either genius or suicide. Let's find out which." We recorded for 9 straight days. No sleep, no edits, 1 take. When it was done, she uploaded it herself to every platform under the name G. Langford. No photo, no bio, just the music. It exploded. Not slowly, like a bomb. Within 2 weeks, EXILE was the most shared contemporary classical piece in 20 years. The New York Times called it a howl from the grave of a dynasty. The Guardian said it made Shostakovich sound polite. Streaming revenue hit 6 figures in a month. I leased a warehouse in Gowanus, turned it into a recording studio and a school. Kids paid what they could. Some paid nothing. I didn't care. The music paid the rent now, and then Easter came. I was in the middle of a 16-hour mix when my phone rang. A New York number I didn't know. I almost ignored it. Something made me answer. "Gabriel?" Mom's voice, cracked, desperate. "You need to come home. Now!" I said nothing. She kept talking, words tumbling. "Justice Whittaker is here. The Chief Justice. He flew in for Easter brunch. He asked for you, by name. He's obsessed with your piece. He said he plays EXILE every morning before session. He wants to meet the composer. Gabriel, please. Your father. This could change everything." I leaned against the soundproof glass. The control room smelled like coffee and solder. Freedom. "Tell me, Mother," I said, voice flat as the frozen lake I left behind. 3 months ago, you were ready to lock my violin in a safe. Now you want me to perform for a Supreme Court justice so Dad can get a photo op? Silence. Then a sound I had never heard from her before. A sob. "We didn't know, Gabriel. We didn't know you had this in you." I laughed. Actually laughed. "You knew exactly who I was. You just wanted me smaller, easier to control." "Justice Whittaker said he's recommending you for the Presidential Medal next year," she whispered. "Your father is... he's shaken. He played the recording for the table, and he cried, Gabriel, in front of everyone." I looked at the gold record the label had messengered over that morning, still in bubble wrap. "Tell the Chief Justice thank you," I said. "But I'm in the middle of a session. Some of us have deadlines that actually matter. Gabriel and Mom, tell Dad the violin he wanted to lock away just paid cash for this building. Tell him the delinquent lessons just funded full-ride scholarships for 50 kids this fall. And tell him the prodigal son isn't coming home. He's already there." I hung up. Across the room, 12-year-old Jamal looked up from his cello. "You okay, Mr. G?" I smiled. The first real one in years. "Never better, kid. Let's run the second movement again. Louder this time." Word is, Justice Whittaker left the brunch early. Apparently, the conversation died the moment they realized the family failure was the reason the most powerful judge in America had shown up at all. Dad tried to save face. Told everyone I was on tour in Europe. The Chief Justice smiled politely and said, "Funny, he just texted me from Brooklyn, said he's too busy changing the world to make it." I never heard from them again, not directly. But 6 months later, a package arrived at the studio. No return address. Inside was the Guadagnini, the one they threatened to lock away. With it, a single sheet of Langford letterhead. 4 words, in Dad's handwriting this time. Encore, well-deserved. I put the violin on the wall, not to play, just to look at every day and remember. Some cages are made of gold, some keys are made of silence. I built my own stage, and every night it's sold out to kids who can't afford tickets anywhere else. The music is louder now, angrier, freer, and every time a new student walks through the door carrying a beat-up case and too much hope, I know exactly what to say. Welcome home. What would you do if this happened to you? Tell me in the comments. Thank you for watching Revenge Cut. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales of betrayal, justice, and redemption. Until next time, stay strong and never stop believing in your truth.